welcome to the Nerdstrom Household. My name is Nerdstrom, and we are continuing our journey into deck profiles here in the Nerdstrom Household for the Nerdstrom House Championship set number 7. And here we are. We are finally coming to the top tier decks here in the Nerdstrom Household. You guys know this one very much, or by this point in time. It's a deck that I have been spending a lot of time working on and tooling to make as good of a deck as possible. And finally, it is here for everyone to see exactly what I'm doing with this particular deck. This is the number 2 seed blue steel deck. It's very much inspired by the Kiwi Birds version of how to play blue steel, or sapphire steel if you guys are familiar with the terms. But the one thing that it does do is it really emphasizes the ward cards that Sapphire is very much well known for, and tries to exploit that as much as possible. So that's basically kind of the main engine that this deck pretty much has. You can use Kit, you can use Alice, you can also use Aurora for some if you want to like make everybody ward. And we'll kind of take a look at the decks as we go on there too. Now, just like the Amber Steel Song deck that I was playing on here, I kind of fanned these cards out before I started filming, and I noticed that there was some interesting differentials. And I thought that in the deck, like there are some, I was like, why do I have so many of these but so little of these? My response in that moment is, I've been doing really well with this deck, with the combination it's been in, and why change anything? I know that there's some like rules that you need to have 4 of everything or 2 of everything, or if you're going to do one, have a whole bunch of them and do like a toolbox variant. But I think the ratio of cards that I've had on here lately has done really well for me, and I'm very happy with the results that have come up. And so I just wanted to kind of stick with it and see where we go from there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the deck profile of this blue steel Kiwi Bird Ward variant. So to start with our 1-drops, I've got, what do I have? We've got 16 1-drops, okay? So to start off, we've got the star of the show, at least in this deck, Kit Cloudkicker, Spunky Bear Cub. It's got ward, and it's an 0-1 stat line, but it's there because he's like, but you know it's why it's there. It's because I've got something waiting in the wings that's able to do this. Now, what I do want to say about this card, and the reason why I was inspired to try it out, is we are currently living in a meta where Grab Your Sword, which deals damage to all characters on the opposing side, 2 damage, is not on the board, and it's just not really being played all that much. I don't understand why. I like that card, but because of that, I wanted to go ahead and try to take advantage of this. And I usually would only ever play this combination if I knew it was in my hand and I had the ability to put it out. But if not, I could always wait it out, see what happens. If for some reason by turn 5 or Grab Your Sword might be in play, I'll just go ahead and quest it out and just take the lore and just take what's coming to me. But it's nice to have this one because you can just leave that there for as long as you want to, as long as it's as long as it's not turned sideways. It can just like stay there for as long as you want it to. Nothing can target it. No Zeus's, no Storms, no Strengths, not even like Elsa trying to exert a character. It'll stay on the board for as long as you want to, until a giant board wipe takes it out. Now, of course, be prepared is definitely a relevant thing, and I understand that against a deck like Ruby Sapphire, this deck more or less has no chance. But I spent my time tooling with this deck, understanding that this deck's probably not the best option against Ruby Sapphire, but if I can be very good against every other steel variant, um, that's a lot of steel variants that I got to deal with because I have to deal with emerald steel. I know amethyst steel is out there. I know amber steel is out there. And I feel very confident taking this particular deck on against any steel deck and feeling like I can hold it down as best as I possibly can. Um, and interestingly enough, because of how aggro this particular deck is against Ruby Amethyst, yeah, I know Be Prepared is there by turn 7, but because there's no ramp, I don't have to worry about it too much. And I do feel very confident holding my own against a Ruby Amethyst deck at the same time too. So, and it all starts with this particular one drop right over here. Kit Cloud Kicker Spunky Bear Cub. I've been talking way too much about this one card and explaining stuff too much. Let's go ahead and keep going. You've got 4 Robin Hoods. You know there's a Robin Hood package in this one if you've seen the gameplay. I've got 3 Happies. During this turn, your turn, this character gains evasive. Now, this deck runs a lot of different kinds of things within it. It's got an aggro package. It's got a ward package. It even has but it also does have a 7 Doors Mine package, which you're going to see in a second. I have the mines in there just in case I need to. And when you play a card like Happy against an Emerald Steel deck, where I have to worry about things like Diablo, this card on its own, if it's turned sideways, I can take out Diablo at the expense of the card for sure. But if I put it in the mine, now I can also take out Cove Diablo at the same time too. So really solid card to have at my arsenal. I've got 3 Mickeys, the Resist +1 that you also saw in my Jafar deck as well. This has been kind of like a, if all else fails, put Mickey in there, and it should work for a little. It should work its magic for a little while. And then, interestingly enough, I have 2 Popsicles. If you guys seen my gameplay, you see me play Bell on occasion as a turn 1 option because you can banish this card and put Bell out. And I do have 4 of those, but I only have 2 of these ones in here. It's a thing that I do not have to rely on that much, but I like to know that it's available. And you know, if all else fails, if I can't get the combo to work out, I can always just Ink Bell, you know. But I also wanted to have a little bit of card draw. And this is back when I was looking at maybe doing a Force Sphere combo, but obviously Force Sphere is not available anymore. But in the wake of it, it caused me myself to be inspired to build a deck like this. And I think it was for the best. Now, I have 3 docks. When you play this character, you may discard your hand to draw 2 cards. Ideally, you want to get rid of your entire hand when you do that. That way you don't lose cards in your hand. But it's kind of a get out of jail free card if like a lot of the cards are maybe uninkable or you just can't really do anything with what you've got. You can try that and then start again, but with 2 new cards, and you don't have to give other cards to the opponent like a card like Holy World does. Solid deck. It also does serve as a feeder for the 7 Dwarves Mine, which you'll see in a second. We've got 3 Mr. Sneeze. Let's actually do this. We've got 3 Mr. Sneeze. At the end of your turn, if this character is exerted and you don't have a captain character to play, you deal 1 damage to this character. Obviously, I don't have the captains in this deck, but Mr. Smee has always proven to be a very solid addition to any steel deck, and this is no exception. I only have 3 because I only have 3. So there is that. Pretty solid option. Also gives me a little bit of aggro too because it also does quest for 2 as well. And then I've got 3 Calhouns. They also have resist 1, and during your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you gain 2 lore. Great early game kind of thing to get rid of cheap characters on the opponent's side of the board while also gaining 2 lore. It also keeps people honest. They have to like respect that Calhoun is on the board, and can potentially stall so that you can get your plays done the right way. And then finally, I've got 2 7 Doors Mine. During the turn, the first time you move a character here, you may deal 1 damage to a chosen character, and if the moved character is a knight, deal 2 damage instead. Doc and Happy are both knight characters, and so they can deal 2 damage at 1 point. So there isn't There are some removal things, but there's not as much as you think you would have, especially with a steel deck like this one. But Seven Dwarfs Mine does its job and does it very well. I mean, sometimes even like if I put Calhoun on here and just put 1 damage on a character, sometimes this is all you need, you know, so that you can go ahead and finish it off with Calhoun at the same time too. So yeah, 2 mines, and that is the end of our 2 drops. Now let's take a look at 3 drops. You've got Big Boy Lawrence right over here. While this character has no damage, he gets +4 strength. He also does quest for 2. If I ever do want to, I can just go ahead and use it as quester. And it is strong enough that it can take down characters, at least on the first turn that they do it, or at least deliver 4 strength to them. And sometimes 4 strength is enough. And people have to be have to keep themselves honest when it comes to having Lawrence on there, because they know the sacrifice that they might have to make because of how strong the character is. So yeah, and then I also do have 4 Alice's. This is one of the ward characters that really makes this deck go. It has ward, and whenever this character quests, another chosen character of yours gets +1 lore and then gains ward until the start of your next turn. It does also quest for 2. In a lot of cases, when I do quest for it for 2, is to get that move going on another character, and there's a lot of cases where this card will go away, but it'll do the deed that it's supposed to do at the same time too. Alice has been a pretty solid addition to this deck, and it's one of the things that really makes this deck move. I do also have 4 bells. This is the thing that I was talking about. Even though I have 2 popsicles, I do have 4 bells. It can't, in a lot of cases, I tend to ink them more often than not, but it is still a pretty solid addition to have. Because when the popsicle is there and the bell is there, guess what? Now you have a free character to play on board. But yes, during your turn, when you banish chosen chosen item to play this character for free. It's a 3/3 stat line, so it's pretty solid. It's a pretty strong card on its own. There's not a lot of cards on turn 1 or 2 that kind of have that same stat line, with the exception of things like Mr. Smee or like a Madam M Snake. And it could stay on the board. It could sing songs like Let the Storm Rage On, which I have 4 of, and Strength of Raging Fire, which I have 2 of, and I'm Still Here, which I have 1 of. This allows me to buff cards because it gains resist +2 until the start of your next turn. And it allows me to draw a card. I have 2 Strength of Raging Fire, deal damage to chosen character equal to the number of characters you have in play. And Lord Storm Rage On, deal 2 damage to a chosen character, and you can draw a card. The package is set up in such a way that I can do a little bit more card draw with every damaging move that I make, with the exception of Strength of the Raging Fire. That's all for the 3 drops. Now I got only 2 4 drops, and they are in the form of McDuck Banner. 1 streak to get these characters on the board. You don't really have to, it's a vanilla card, but it does quest for 2, and it has 9 willpower. People that are familiar with this game, you guys know how stubborn McDuck Manor can be, because even when it's Be Prepared, it doesn't affect locations. So that McDuck Manor can keep doing things to make it hell for other players that don't know how to handle McDuck Manor. All right, so now it's time for the 5 drops. Pretty conventional. 4 Robin Hoods. Shift 3. During your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you gain 2 lore. It does also quest for 2 on its own, and when this character is banished in a challenge, you can draw a card. This has been around ever since set 3. It's been a great card. It's been a great addition. There's a reason why the price of this card still hasn't gone that much different, because of how good and effective it is. And I think in this deck, when you combine that with the ability of Calhoun as well as the ability of Robin Hood, it's a really solid ability to kind of gain lore at the expense of other people's characters. So pretty solid addition. And now here's where we get a little bit fun. So Cogsworth, shift 3, it's got ward, and your other characters gain resist +1. Damage to them is reduced by 1. It also does quest for 2. Usually you would just keep this on board and just keep giving resist to all the other characters. So in the case of a card like Robin Hood, you -1 strength, so it makes it that much harder to get rid of this character even though he's challenging. But in addition, if Calhoun is on the board and you have Cogsworth on the field, now all of a sudden the card already has resist 1 and now it has resist 2. So now it takes 4 damage to get rid of a Calhoun character card. So Cogsworth has always proved its worth, especially ever since set 2, and it's a card that doesn't show up often because it does have because I only have 2 of these ones. But when it's there, it does its job, and it does its job very well. And then let's go on to the last bits of spice. Now, right here, we've got Aurora, Dreaming Guardian. Shift 3, I don't have shift characters, and your other characters gain ward. Opponents can't choose them except the challenge. So it gives everyone on the field ward, and it also goes quest for 2. So it gives everybody ward except for itself. But that is where Alice can come in. So as long as so if I play Alice on the field and I have Alice on the field, and then a couple turns later I play Aurora, I can have everyone get ward, and obviously she doesn't. But as long as I don't mind not being able to use the quest for 1+1 ability, when I quest this one, I can give this ward, and now everyone has ward. And it is incredible that I can also do that sort of thing. And I also don't understand why nobody does it, because I know what it's like to take on a bunch of steel decks and have characters get deleted every single time, no matter how many times you try to change this thing. But with this combination, it actually makes it so that you get to stand and fight and live another turn and do what you got to do. So that's the reason why I really like this card. And then finally, this is this lone 6-drop that I've got right here, but it's Kick, Cloud Kicker, Navigator. Going back to that to that 1-drop that we had on there, this is the shift target. Shift 3, it's also got ward, and it quests for 3. I've had a lot of situations where I play this card against a bunch of other people, and the result is almost always the same. They don't expect this card to come out, and when it does come out, they quest it, and they're like, I have no idea how to get rid of this card. It's got 5 willpower, so it's pretty strong on its own, but if you don't knock it off, it's going to keep questing for 3 every single time, and it's all about the lore. It's all about questing and doing what it takes to win the game. That's the whole point of lore content. Oh, that and having fun. So that is the secret to this deck's success. And I've been really happy with the results, and I can't wait to see what the result will be for the Nerdstrom House Championship. I've got one more deck that I have in my arsenal that I need to demonstrate. You know which one it is. It's the one that's been occupying the Jafar deck box all season long. And we're that much close to revealing the #1 seed. So until then, this is the #2 seed deck that I've been very proud of, because out of all the decks on here, this is the one that I feel is the most original, unique, and I feel like putting my heart and soul into it, and I'm very proud with the results. So until then, I'll be back just in a little bit to show you the deck that is #1 seed right now. But until then, this is Nerdstrom reminding you, you do not have, just because I play against myself doesn't mean that you have to either go out. Oh my gosh, let me go ahead and say it again. Until next time, this is Nerdstrom telling you that just because I play against myself doesn't mean that you have to. Go out and make new friends, and let's get nerdy.